Why do I keep sabotaging myself and limiting my own success?
That's an interesting that's an interesting question. Yeah, I mean, there could be so many reasons for that. But yeah, I do think that maybe shadow work is a good approach. And speaking of the shadow workshops, the third one would be one where you kind of confront that question of, you take the frame of why am I doing this to myself, in the sense of what kind of a pleasure am I getting, what kind of a perverted pleasure am I getting out of constantly sabotaging myself.
Well, it could feed the identity, right?
It could,
like,
yeah.
It's like, oh, poor me, I'm always screwed over by whatever.
Yeah. And you might have learned this pattern, maybe in your childhood or something, where it's like, as long as I'm a victim, people take care of me, or something like that. And you've held on to that strategy, because like you haven't updated the strategy. It used to work. It used to be a great strategy, but now you're trying to do things where that's no longer a good strategy. And doing shadow work is something where you can uncover that. But yeah, obviously the problem is there could be many reasons. But how do you stop sabotaging yourself? I mean, I think it requires introspection, because there's no universal thing. There's no here's why people or how people sabotage themselves. There could be all kinds of reasons. So it requires introspection. And another thing I would also say is, a question you need to ask is, are you really sabotaging yourself? Or are you using this as an excuse for something else? And the reason I say that is because I have seen this sometimes where people are like, I don't know, I've talked about this before or ranted about this before, but, people talking about like money mindset, and there's entire like books and seminars and stuff where the suggestion made is like, hey, if you're not a millionaire right now, it's just a mental thing, you just have to unlock your poverty. You have to, if you change your poverty mindset, then money will flood into your life, right? And me, the guru, will teach you how to do this for a hefty price usually. And it's like, listen, a lot of the people who are doing they're doing the meditation practice or whatever to try and develop a billionaire mindset. Most of you guys don't have a mindset problem. You're not self-sabotaging from, earning more money. It's like, you don't have a business that makes money. You don't have a plan for how to manage your money. You don't have an investment portfolio that's well structured. You don't have a plan for how to develop your skills in order to advance your career and so on. This is all about what you do in real life. And you're not sabotaging yourself. You're just not doing enough, right?
Right, yeah.
And you are looking to this. You're looking to this as like an escape, because you're like, oh, I don't want to do all this hard work, right? To get rich. I'd rather just like sit and meditate and get rich, right? I'd rather if I just figure out how the right way to do the manifestation exercise, then I'll become rich.
Well, I could just vibrate at the right frequency.
Exactly. If I can increase the frequency of vibration, I'll get rich. It's like, no. The getting rich generally requires a lot of work. You got to do that work, bro. So this is again like an introspection and shadow work type thing where you have to ask the tough questions. And sometimes the tough question is, what psychological thing am I not confronting? Sometimes it's like, am I just deluding myself? Am I just deluding myself? Do I have to stop deluding myself? You have to be open to whatever the answer is.
Fair enough. I don't know. I still feel like we need to grab, some cash, figure out what frequency is it vibrating at, and then how can I replicate that?
I mean, wouldn't that be great? Yeah, just attract more cash. But how exactly is that going to work? What, people are just going to throw money at me when I walk down
It's like
the
a
street.
magnet. You're walking down the street, it just flies to you,
It just flies towards you. I mean, sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, all of this obviously was a joke, right? But the shadow work stuff and the introspection stuff, that is for real, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I'm joking about it, but there are a considerable number of people who are deluding themselves in such a way, right? That is real. Like, there are people making a lot of money selling this nonsense. And yeah, again, like the shadow work part of it is you have to be unafraid. You have to unflinchingly look at what's going on. And generally, it's unpleasant, right? It turns out to be unpleasant. It turns out to be uncomfortable. It turns out that usually the suffering you're in is something you do to avoid something that you're more afraid of, right? So, and that could be all kinds of things. But yeah, it's like, being in this state of like, oh, I'm never succeeding, I'm always sabotaging myself, and so on. Is like you're probably doing that to avoid something you're even more afraid of than being chronically unsuccessful.
And it could be anything, like an internalized childhood experience, right?
Totally, yeah.
Like you tried your best and the teacher's like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
And from there, like you just somehow figure out a way to stop trying your best so you never get that harsh negative feedback, right?
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, I'm not psychoanalyzing. I'm
Yeah. But it's,
using an example.
the point is that it's going to be unpleasant, right? If you do shadow work and it's not unpleasant, you're not doing it yet.
Right. You're not doing it right. Yeah. All right. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that question?
I think that was all.